Welcome to Dolphins Today by Chat Sports. I am Nic Rohloff. Happy Father's Day, by the way. And this is a mailbag to celebrate all the dads out there, just like how Tua is the dad of the New England Patriots. First question coming in from Chad Jones. With the Tsunami defense and the constant switching players in and out, do you think it will help our defense? Absolutely, Chad. This is a good question. And if you are not aware in what Chad is talking about, Anthony Weaver is the new defensive coordinator in Miami, coming over from Baltimore. I absolutely love him, and I think he's going to do a fantastic job for the Dolphins. But Mike McDaniel mentioned how the defense is just so ever-changing, and they want to really attack the opposing backfields, offensive line with different formations, different players, different looks. And I do really think it will help Miami. And I think you could tell they were heading in this specific direction, Chad, with their decisions during the NFL draft. There were a lot of things that needed to be addressed on this team. Interior offensive line, safety, wide receiver, defensive line. But they decided to go with two edge rushers. Chop Robinson in the first, and then a really good value pick in Muhammad Kamara in the fifth round. I think they did that to give Anthony Weaver more ammunition, more ammo in the tank to go after these opposing quarterbacks that they're going to have to really go out and attack, like Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson. And there's so many guys on this defensive line that can be moved around to get after the quarterback. I think it's going to really help this Dolphins defense and make them one of the best groups in the NFL. Tim B with a $5 super chat. Need to sign GVR. You were referring to Greg Van Roten, the offensive lineman that is still out there, formerly of the Las Vegas Raiders. We have talked about him quite a bit on the show. I agree with you, Tim B. I think Miami needs to sign him. It's the one glaring hole on this team. Like, you can talk about secondary defensive linemen, but, like, that's not really that important in terms of a starting right guard. Van Roten's the best man for the job, best player out there. Dolphins have about $9-10 million in cap space, assuming they sign Chop Robinson soon. They need to allot that to Greg Van Roten. I'm with you, Tim B. Make sure you do follow me over on Twitter, because if you're watching this and you weren't with us live but still want to ask me a question surrounding the Miami Dolphins, you can do it over on my Twitter, where you'll find daily Dolphins coverage, Dolphins highlights. My handle is Nic Rohloff, Nic_Rohloff, that is. We're on the road to 1,100 followers. We're 12 away from 1,050. Let's get to 1,100 soon. Charles, will Miami end up extending Jaelan Phillips soon? Fascinating question, because Jalen Waddle, who is in the same draft class as Jaelan Phillips, already got his extension from the Dolphins a couple weeks ago. They're still in negotiations with Tua Tagovailoa. Javon Holland is entering the final year of his deal. And honestly, like, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's kind of my opinion on the matter. I think Jaelan Phillips is going to walk in a couple seasons. He's got 2 years left under contract. He's got this season, his fourth year, which is still rookie contract, and the Dolphins already exercised his fifth-year option for the following year. So it's guaranteed to have 2 years in Miami. Now, after those 2 years, I don't know what the situation for Miami will be cap-wise. You could technically franchise Jaelan Phillips if you wanted to for a pretty hefty cost and keep him in Miami if you haven't worked out an extension. But to me, with you paying Bradley Chubb $25 million, and maybe you can get out of that contract in a couple seasons when you need to pay Phillips and use that money that would have went to Chubb to Jalen to keep the younger guy around long term. Maybe you do that. But with Tua's contract extension, Waddle, Tyreek Hill, Javon Holland, Jalen Ramsey, some of these other guys getting paid big money, there is someone that's going to be left out. It's the reason why Christian Wilkins had to leave in free agency. The Dolphins just couldn't afford that contract. I think the same thing might be said for Jaelan Phillips in a couple of years. But you let me know, will the Dolphins extend Jaelan Phillips? I'd love to extend him. I want to keep him. I'm just being a realist here, and I don't really think it's going to happen. Type E for extend or type W for won't. Brian Aycock with a $10 super chat. If Nick is in, I am in for Chat Sports this year. Badass in 424. Hell yeah, brother. We're going to go on a run this year. Dolphins are winning a playoff game. I'm going to call it the Nic Rohloff luck for the luck boost for Miami. We're going to win the AFC East. We're going to win a playoff game at bare minimum. Let's go on a run and have a good season in 24. Kivo plays. Hashtag Dolphins. Do you think we're going to sign anybody else? We put out a video earlier on the week on 5 free agent targets the Dolphins could sign after they got Marcus May in free agency on Monday evening. I do believe Chris Grier is going to add someone to this roster because there's 2 needs. There's the offensive line issue and there's the defensive line. Calais Campbell is still out there. Greg Van Roten, who we already talked about on this mailbag. There are a good enough free agents still available to make it worth signing. Like if we're in the bum area where none of these guys would be able to come in, start, and contribute, then probably just save the money and use it in case of emergency during the season in a trade or if an injury occurs. But because there are so many guys out there that can contribute to the team, I think it's worth going out to sign someone. So if I had to give my prediction, I think we would sign someone. And if we do make a signing, we will have an update and a video. So make sure you are subscribed on the road to 57,000 subscribers, under 300 away. Don't miss any news or updates, rumors, whatever you want around your Dolphins. Hit that sub button. LJC, do you think Raheem Mostert could get benched near mid-season? Intriguing question. I don't think benched is the right term. When I think of benched, I think of a negative connotation, right? It's like, he's playing bad. He cannot play anymore. We are going to look elsewhere. Do I think there is a realm of possibility that De'Von Achane plays so well this year in year 2? Rookie Jaylen Wright from Tennessee makes a massive impact in the pass game and with his speed, that Raheem Mostert takes a step back and doesn't get as much carries and as much workload as he did last year? Yes, I do think that's possible. But entering the first week of the NFL season, barring an injury, I think Mostert's going to be your lead back. If I had to break down what I think a timeshare could look like in this backfield, because they're going to use the trio of Wright, Mostert, and HN, I think you're going to see probably 55% of the work go to Mostert, 30% go to HN, and then the remaining 15% go to Jaylen Wright. Tim B back again like he never left. What would it take to sign Greg Van Roten and Connor Williams? Well, I do have good news in the Connor Williams department. I think that would be relatively cheap. Like, it'd be like a 1-year, maybe $2 million deal because he's coming off an ACL injury, and even though he's a really good offensive lineman, he still has to make his way back from an ACL injury, and he's not going to be able to play for at least half of the season in all likelihood. So that would be pretty cheap. Van Roten probably in the same territory, 1 year, $3 million, maybe $4 million if there becomes a big-time market for him. But think about this. Like, Odell Beckham Jr. signed for $3 million. I get he had an incentive-laced contract, but someone of his caliber at a big-time position of needs in around the NFL, only getting $3 million, like, that's probably where you're looking at for these guys. Doubt they would sign both of them, but could they sign one of Connor Williams and Van Roten for 1 year, $2-3 million? Absolutely. Make sure you get this Dolphins t-shirt combo, $25 off, chatsports.com/Dolphins combo. I actually can't wear it because it blends in with our green screen, but the shirt's pretty awesome, man. I got my own. I told you I got mine. Unfortunately, I can't wear it because it does blend in with the green screen, but join me because you don't have to wear it in front of a green screen. Chatsports.com/Dolphins combo, $25 off. David Storm coming in. What do you think Tua is worth? This is a great question because it's not what an extension should be. It's not what it will look like. It's what do you think he is worth? And if you just look off his past injury history and his production, I think he's probably worth like 48, 45, like $45 to $48 million. That's probably what he's worth when you look at the market of the NFL quarterback. I think that's very fair, but when you see this extension actually happen and you see him getting paid $53, $54, $55 million per season, it might come as a little bit of a shock, but that's the market, man. Jared Goff said it this offseason with a $52 million extension annually. Trevor Lawrence is going to get one very soon as well. Like, these guys are all getting early 50s, mid 50s, and an annual average salary, even though I think Tua is probably worth 45 to 48. Brian Aycock with a $5 super chat. We need O-line help first and foremost. Yeah, offensive line help is still probably the biggest thing that Miami needs, and we've mentioned that quite a bit. I don't want to beat a dead horse. Third safety was a big need. They figured that out with Marcus May. Defensive line to help Zach Zeeler is up there because I don't know if I trust here Tartan Neville Gallimore. But offensive line is absolutely the biggest need for this Dolphins team, and I think they should go out and sign at least someone. This is a good question. I said earlier that I think the Dolphins will win the AFC East. What do you think? Will Miami win the AFC East in 2024? Will they dethrone Buffalo, who has been having a chokehold on the division the last 3 to 4 seasons? Type Y for yes or type N for no. LJC, do you think Bradley Chubb could get an extension? No. I do not think he could get an extension. He signed a 5-year, $110 million deal with Miami a couple of years ago, or a year and a half ago, I suppose. But I think if you see, it wouldn't be an extension, but it would be like a reworking, a restructure to free up more cap space. Maybe next year, free up cap space for this season, which could help you extend one of these other guys like Javon Holland, Jaelan Phillips, or Tua Tagovailoa. But an extension to add more years onto the deal, that is not going to happen. Ryan, this is a nice comment. Is this our final comment question? Final one from Jack Ray. Always like ending on a high note. Shout out to Ryan Noto. Appreciate the kind words. My good pals, Will Scott and Jake Rietma, who I still talk to on a daily basis. And I actually went golfing with Jake Rietma the past 2 weekends as well. Hopefully they're all doing good in their endeavors. I know they are, but I appreciate the comment. I'm just trying to fill their large footsteps that were left behind. Make sure you do follow me on Twitter. Like I said, if you didn't get your question on the mailbag or missed the mailbag, you can still ask me anything by following me on Twitter, DMing me. My DMs are open, or you can just comment under one of my most recent tweets. @Nic_Rohloff's the handle. I'll see you with a video tomorrow. Go Fins.